morning. It's Legendary Excellence. It's a Wednesday in August, and I'm having a great day. Started out, just woke up in prayer, woke up in contemplation, woke up in peace. When we think about that peace, it's something that's really special. It's something to be very, very grateful for. Oftentimes people have to work incredibly hard to be able to accomplish that goal of waking up in peace. Having peace means that you can be able to live authentically and peacefully throughout the day. We can be able to not be disturbed by things around us. We can be able to appreciate and enjoy our life and to be able to let things be what they're going to be. Today is a day of substantial meetings. I have a number of update meetings for organizations I'm a part of, or with my coach, or sort of a new discovery meeting with an organization that I'm working with on creating their path forward. These are the types of days that take a lot. I look to a day where there's a lot going on as a tremendous opportunity. I take it as a tremendous opportunity to increase and improve my self-care, to be able to create a path where it is easy and effective for me to lead my best life. I don't want to go eat garbage for breakfast. I'm not having Fruit Loops and a Monster Energy, and there's no cigarettes or chewing tobacco or any of that stuff in my life. It's just a very simple thing. It's going to be some tea without caffeine. I know some of y'all are very disappointed by that. And then I'm going to stay hydrated. I'm going to have some eggs, some sweet potatoes, some watermelon. That diet that I eat is quite possibly my biggest secret weapon on how I live my life, is that the diet of food that is consumed makes a tremendous difference in the quality of life, in the capability to perform, and in how I feel at each moment in each day. That diet is the fundamental building block of who we are. If we eat Brussels sprouts, if we eat celery, if we eat leafy green vegetables like kale, spinach, and other things like that, we can really flourish. We can find foods that work well with our system, and we can be able to find foods that make us feel amazing. There's nothing quite like feeling amazing with no other outside additives. It's a really nice feeling. I eat a lot of mackerel, I eat a lot of steak, I eat a lot of fish, just in general, cod and salmon, and it makes me feel really good. That's what I care about. That's how I can make my best decisions. That's how I can live my best life, is by having a nourished to flourish mindset. That I go and I stretch and I do these things that help me to be able to get into the best shape possible, that help me to be able to be strong. Right now I'm counting calories because I'm losing a little bit of weight. I want to get even in better shape. Ski season's coming up. I have other projects that are going to require me to be in good shape to be successful. And I just love it. I love that I can do this. For a long time, I struggled with binge eating. I struggled with all of these other issues like addiction that wasted my time, that wasted my energy, and that wasted my potential. That waste is a horrible thing. We think about human consciousness and life and existence. It's such a precious thing. It's that experience of life. It's that experience of how we see and understand the world is a truly amazing thing. We can experience God. We can experience gratitude. We can experience fellowship. We can experience success. These are the fundamental things that matter most in our world. When we look at the culture around us, I have to say, even in the last 24 hours, there's things I've seen and experienced that have been horrific. I can focus on the things that are bad and difficult, or I can decide. And I can decide I'm going to focus on the things that are good. I'm going to focus on the things to be grateful for. I will say, of the things that I've experienced in the last 24 hours, I'm incredibly grateful. I'm incredibly grateful for the peace that I have. I'm incredibly grateful for the serenity. I'm grateful for Jesus Christ. I'm grateful for today. This gratitude, the more that we think about gratitude, the stronger it gets with us. It's the same way with the lifting weights. When we lift weights, we get stronger. We get a better capability to perform. When we think about our minds, the more that we focus the lens of our brain on the things that truly matter in our life, which are the things that we're grateful for, counting our blessings for being alive today, being able to take and to develop and then carry out grand plans that help us to be able to better the world. These are the things that make a life worth living. If you're wasting your life, you're spending your time on pornography, you're spending your time on video games, if you're wasting it on resentment or meaninglessness or all of these things, you're going to hit a point where you're not going to feel good. That not feeling good, it's a difficult experience. It can manifest as depression, it can manifest as suicidality, it can manifest as addiction. You can constantly tell yourself, hey, I'm going to quit. I can quit, whatever it is. But then the next day you're going to be in the same situation. The next day you're going to be in the same situation. It's just going to grow and grow and grow and take over your life. That active decision that you can make to improve your life is the most important decision. In Alcoholics Anonymous, they say we admitted we had a problem. It can take a long time to admit you have a problem. There's people that create grand schemes and plans to refuse to acknowledge they have a problem. They sexually harass people, and then the people walk away from them or conflict with them. They say, oh my God, I can't believe everybody else has a problem. I obviously don't have a problem, but everybody else is. But there's this pattern of, hey, you have people that engage with you, they drop off. They engage with you, they drop off. You have people where they go and they sabotage their children. They sabotage their children's opportunities. They go and they don't want to see their children grow and expand beyond who and what they are. These experiences are incredibly unfortunate. These experiences are a lot of what holds us back as a society. When we think about all of the people in our world, and we think about what we need to accomplish to be successful, to create a truly flourishing and genuinely amazing society, we notice that on a continual basis that there's these situations that baffle us. From the outside, I look at somebody that's suffering from addiction. I go, wow, just put the stuff down. But the person that's in that moment, that's experiencing that process of addiction, doesn't see it that way. They see it as just normal. This is how life should be. I know of people that suffer from greed. Greed is a horrific affliction. And those people that suffer from greed will aggress, and will hurt others as much as they can. It's amazing because the damage it does to their soul and the damage it does to the relations of those people around them is horrific. That greed of always wanting more, always taking more, not having decency. These are the things that when we live our lives, it's really important to pay attention to. It's really important to be aware of is who are you associating with? What are they doing? What is in the wake of their choices and their decisions? It's very humbling because I've learned about things that really I am so grateful for having avoided. I have a friend right now that's working on a power plant, and he's been there for, it's got to be 6 months. And I only worked for 2 months at the beginning of the year on that power plant, and I could get talk to him and text with him. And it's like, to me, it's like a war that I walked away from and I'm off of. And I really enjoyed that job. It was a good job, but it's still, there's an intensity to what you're doing when you're working in those power plants. I've had other situations where it's a similar thing, where I talk about people that I knew in the past, and from those discussions, I'm filled with a deep sense of gratitude of not being in that situation. Holding on to relationships that don't serve us is probably one of the most difficult choices that we can make. There can be people that from the outside are presented and seen as trusted, presented and seen as being the people you're supposed to have the best relationships with, supposed to care about you, supposed to do all of these things. And it's very difficult when systematically they show that they're not capable of that human decency, that there's some void within their soul, there's some brokenness where they're not capable of understanding at a deep level what love is. In the Bible, it talks about what will you gain if you have all the money but you lose your soul. And I am so empowered and so charged on my missions to know the decisions I made in the past that were controversial and difficult have proven to be 100% correct. And that decision being 100% correct is something that takes tremendous time, tremendous energy, tremendous difficulty to be able to walk through. And it's a fascinating thing when you walk where there's no path, where you decide to go down a trail where there's no named trail, there's no existence of a defined path to follow. I experienced this a lot when I skied. I remember I had a phenomenal powder day at Jackson Hole 2 years ago, and I think it was 24 inches. And I got there, and I was pretty early up the tram. I was up at the top of the tram by 9 a.m. and the snow was so good. And I went down Hobacks, and I was probably one of the first 10 people down Hobacks, which was just delightful. It's a very remote section of about 2,000 vertical feet. It takes a bunch of lifts to get back out of it, but man, it's a blessing being there. And being in Hobacks was just a nice experience at that time of just, just floating through the snow. But then it got a little tracked out, and they ended up moving further along on the mountain later in the day on some of the areas that were just lift serviced instead of tram serviced. And there's these sections where you just have beautiful, like there's no trail there, but it's just beautiful tree skiing, beautiful. And no one had been down that area, and so I just hopped in and was in there. And it's that joy. The more that you go down trails that you don't see names on, the more that you go down trails that aren't necessarily seen and understood, the better you get at that process, the better and more confident you're going to become at going down those trails where you don't necessarily see the path. Those connections, those emotional connections, can be very powerful. They're important. I have friends that are dealing with a variety of family issues, and those connections can feel so empowering at sometimes, but they can also be so draining. That draining can be able to take away the good within our lives because we're focused on being able to live in a reality that doesn't actually match reality. There's a pattern called narcissistic gaslighting, which is an unfortunately common technique where people say, you go and experience something. They say, oh no, you didn't experience that. That's not real. That gaslighting is so damaging for our soul, and it's so dishonest. And I've had people professionally, I've had people in my personal life that have done that to me. And that experience is very negative. It's something that takes away, and for me, caused depression. And so I'm very allergic to it. I don't deal with it, and I don't deal with it well when I do deal with it. But that path, I want to encourage people watching this podcast to really think about what choices you can make each day. That you might not be ready to make the decision to leave a dysfunctional system. It might be a workplace, it might be a family, it might be any of these things. Maybe it's a faith group. But you might not be ready today. But how can you create a nest for yourself? How can you be able to create a consistent pattern of safety, a consistent opportunity to be able to be happy and joyous and free, even within that system, with the intent of building yourself as strong as possible? How can you be able to save some money? How can you be able to create additional connections that are healthy, or that will set you up in a position to be healthier? Because in my life, there have been some very major transitions that I've been through. Some of those transitions have required that I was homeless for a while, and it was very high stress and it was very challenging, but it was also incredibly freeing. And so those times of difficulty and challenge and overcoming these hurdles fundamentally changes how we see and understand the world, how we are capable of accomplishing and going after these worthwhile goals of independence, of generosity, of mastery, and of belonging. And I would say worthy belonging is something that's important, because we can belong to something, but if it's a dysfunctional or a poorly governmented organization, it's probably not worth being a part of.
tremendously love my life. I get great joy out of this podcast. And it's fun because it allows me to be able to share very difficult, very negative, and very challenging experiences that I've been through to an audience that I pray will benefit from this, that you can be able to get ideas, that you can be able to be inspired to take action, to be able to decide to make our world a better place. This world is an absolutely amazing place. We have beauty in nature, we have beauty in people, we have beauty in strength and relationships and in wisdom. I think of the friends of mine who have been through great hardships, great challenges, and have found this peace, they found this purpose through helping others, through being of service, and through using their time and energy to be the best human that they can be. That's my challenge for you today. Be the best human that you can be. Do the things that can be able to help you to grow your world, to be able to flourish, to be able to nourish yourself, to eat the food that is going to help you and is going to create a system that you are made up of that will be healthy and will be joyous and will be free. I'm so grateful for today. I'm grateful for you watching this. I'm grateful for whatever the background is. It'll probably be some awesome skiing, which reminds me that ski season's coming up soon, so I probably need to work out a little bit more. But with all of that, God bless you. I hope you live with legendary excellence. We'll talk again soon.